Thank you, John Eric, and thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate it, and good to see everybody's faces. I want to just start by saying how proud I am of our entire group. I'm proud of our players. I'm proud of Clayton. I'm proud of everybody top to bottom that really made tremendous progress for our entire organization this year. The wins and losses at the major league level, that was a lot of fun, but really the individual improvements, our players getting better at all levels, the major league level, the minor league level, the culture that is being built here, the culture that we saw with our major league team, but also if you went to any of our affiliates, if you went down to our Dominican Academy, you would see night and day difference in culture that's really going to get us to where we want to go. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of our players. I'm proud of Clayton. I'm proud of so many people that we've hired into the first year in their position. This is proof of concept. It's proof of concept of getting players better. It's proof of concept of building a winning culture. And we're not where we want to be yet, but it was still exciting progress, tremendous progress. I'm sitting here both very disappointed to be talking to you while other teams are still playing, but also really proud and excited about the progress that we've built and where we're going.
Thank you, Peter. Now we'll start with questions. Just please raise your hand. I'll call on you, and then Christina.
Peter, thanks for talking to us. With how the team performed, maybe ahead of schedule, how does that set you guys up for the offseason and expectations for maybe going for it next year?
I think that in 2026, we're going to have a really competitive, exciting team. Our goal remains to be as good as we possibly can be for as long as we possibly can be, to build a team that's competing for the National League East, the NL East Division, competing for the playoffs every single year, year in and year out. I think that, like I said before, we made tremendous progress towards that goal this year. We didn't hit it yet. I think the 2026 team is going to be really exciting and competitive, and I think the future beyond that is also really bright.
We continue with the thing.
Peter, yes, good morning. Two-part. Obviously, how much the experience from this year and playing that meaningful games until September do you think is going to help for next year? But also knowing that there's no guarantee that you're going to win as many games or even more games than that, and that you will have to approach the offseason in a different way than how you approach it in years in the past.
Yeah, I'll answer your first question first. The playing meaningful games at the end of September is a phenomenal achievement and also a wonderful growth opportunity for our very young team, right? To play games that mattered for our own playoff probability all the way until the final weekend of the season, and then to play games that mattered for the other team and to beat them in the final week of the season. I mean, it meant a lot to our group, but really it was phenomenal development opportunities that you can't fake. Right? The games mattering, you can't fake that, and to see the guys rise to the occasion was a really, really good sign, and really an exciting sign. As for your second question, we're always going to be trying to improve our club. It doesn't matter how many wins we were coming off of. We are always going to be looking for ways to improve our club to really get us to be competitive year in and year out. So that's what this offseason is going to be about, is trying to find ways to improve our club.
Continue with Mike Cooney.
Peter, just curious if you've gotten a chance to speak with Bruce Sherman yet, what his directive for you this offseason might be in terms of, hey, we've got a good foundation, good base, now it's time to go get a player, 2 or 3, that can lift us to the next level, no matter how much that may cost.
Yeah, Bruce and I speak frequently, and we're very much aligned on what it is that we're trying to build here. We're trying to build something that I don't think the Marlins organization has ever had, which is being competitive every single year for a long period. So I think that that's the goal this offseason. That was the goal when I was hired. That will be the goal for my entire time here. And the specifics behind that, that's what we're going to talk about this offseason. But it's still about improving this club for the short term and the long term.
Isaac up front.
Hi, Peter. I'm just curious, how would you evaluate Clayton McCullough and his coaching staff's first full season in the big leagues?
I was really proud, really happy with our entire coaching staff, starting with Clayton. I think Clayton came in here, he established a positive winning culture from day one. He is a phenomenal leader. He's a phenomenal support person to help players get better. He grew a lot throughout the season. Being a manager is an incredibly difficult job. Being a first-year manager is beyond difficult, and I think he handled himself exceptionally well, worked together with myself, with the front office, with players, with all different departments really, really well. I think that the growth that he showed was really impressive. I'm excited for year 2 with him. And I think that a lot of those things apply to basically the rest of our coaching staff too. Nearly everybody was in the first year in their job. That's difficult enough on its own, but then to be surrounded by people who are also in the first year makes it potentially even more difficult, and our staff just did a phenomenal job coming together from really spring training, creating this positive environment, creating the environment that allowed our players to get better.
As a quick follow-up, will the entire staff be returning in 2026? And I'll do that one first.
Yeah, we're still going to have some conversations about that, and we'll have more information.
And do you mind explaining the timing of the pitch calling from the dugout last season? It happened with maybe 9 games to go. Just what went into that decision of that timing?
Yeah, the pitch calling from the dugout was something we were doing throughout the minor leagues pretty much since day one. That was something that we were trying to see how it worked, to see what worked well, what didn't. Most importantly, to see whether or not we could actually implement it with the pitch clock, things like that. As that went really smoothly, we decided it was important to try it at the major league level for similar reasons, to see if it worked, to see what worked, what didn't, to get our players used to it, etc. So we wanted to do that before the season ended.
We continue over here with Con.
Peter, just real quick, I know you mentioned how proud you are and like night-and-day differences in cultural changes within the organization. I guess opinions and expectations are formed externally, but did this team exceed your expectations, evidenced by a turnaround that the organization's never seen before?
You know, I don't like talking about expectations. I think expectations are something that each person puts on themselves and on the team. What I like talking about is progress, and we undeniably made progress. We made progress with the wins, but most importantly, we made progress. You look player by player, where they were when we started this season and where they finished. Virtually every single player made tremendous progress, and it showed up in different ways, right? The progress for Kyle Stowers is very, very easy to see. The progress for Liam Hicks is almost more impressive. To be a Rule 5 player, a Rule 5 catcher who hadn't played above AA, and to not just last season, but positively contribute to the team is amazing progress. The progress that Lake Bacher made from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, again, might not show up at first glance, but is tremendous progress. And I really think those are just guys immediately off the top of my head. I could go player by player on our roster, and I think virtually every single one of them made progress.
If I could just follow up on that real quick. It's probably hard to put your finger on one thing, but what do you attribute the progress of individual players to? Is it the staff that you assembled? Is it the resources that have been put in place by Bruce behind the scenes that people don't see? Like, as you do the autopsy on the off-season, why do you think so much progress was made?
One of the things that I've repeated multiple times since I've been here is my strong belief that player development doesn't stop at the major league level. And I think everything that we did this season was towards that end. The resources, the investments that we've made in the culture, in the amenities, in the things that are meant to help players get better, we saw the progress, we saw that show up on the field. The culture that our staff created, the fact that we've asked our staff specifically to really invest in players to get them better, that contributed to it. And then just the winning environment, the players themselves buying into this. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the players deserve the credit for getting themselves better. We created the environment to make it as easy as possible for them to get better. All of these things tie in together. And so many of the off the field, behind the scenes investments and resources that we've made since I've gotten here, things that people don't see, we saw that pay off. These things pay off with players getting better. And you can't point to any one individual thing. It is a collection of creating an environment, resources, and support for our players that allows them to get better.
We'll continue to the back left. Louis?
Peter, when you talk about culture and cornerstone, how much did retaining Sandy this year? A lot of people thought maybe he would be gone by the but retaining him, what do you think that did for the club, for the fans, and for the city to retain Sandy? And what's the plan moving forward in your mind? I know the second year after Tommy John is probably going to be even better than what we saw already.
Yeah, I think the improvement that Sandy showed on the field from the beginning of the season to the end of the season was very impressive. I think we saw him round into form, into the version of Sandy that we all know. the person that Sandy is, who he is, what he means to this community, what he means to the club. I understand that, and I think it's special. You don't come across that very often. I think he and others leaders in the clubhouse set the tone. Sandy was a big part of that. Kyle Stowers was a big part of that. Others were a big part of that as well. They set the tone of what we're all about. And what we're about is we never gave up. We fought until the last out. We punched above our weight. We put the fear in other teams, and we were always striving to get better. And that is what our culture is all about.
Continue up front. Christina?
Just, do you envision there being any extension candidates, and if so, how much of that is a priority this offseason?
We're always going to have those conversations. We have a bunch of really good young players. We're going to be looking for ways to improve our team every offseason, and there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. There's free agency, there's trades, there's Rule 5, there's minor league free agency. We're going to explore all those different avenues.
You mentioned some of the different avenues, just with so many pre-arb guys, just Sandy and our, like, at some point I guess you kind of have to kind of spend, where can we expect you to, I know it's still early on, but like,
It is still early on. It's 2 or 3 days after the season ends. So we're going to take the off season. We're going to explore all the different things that we need to explore. It's my job to always be thinking about ways to make our team better.
So get back to Sandy. Last year, Peter, obviously we knew from basically the offseason that it was going to start on opening day. Would you be confident to say that Sandy's going to be here in spring training next year?
I'm not going to speculate on any individual player or go player by player. It's important to always be looking for ways to improve our club. And that's really I've done since I've gotten here. I'm going to try to stay as disciplined as possible to doing that, to making our 2026 team really competitive, and to building for a sustainably successful future.
Peter, just what were your initial impressions of Augustine at the major league level, and where do you think he needs to improve?
I think we saw all of Augustine's positives as well as the areas that he needs to improve. He showed that he has, in my opinion, the ability to be a major league catcher, and also needs to improve a lot in order to be able to consistently achieve that level. I think that his offense could even take another step forward. I think he showed a lot of the foundations that we like to see offensively. He hits the ball incredibly hard. He doesn't swing and miss a ton. He gets it really competitive at bat. I think there's a lot more to come offensively from him, and I think he knows he needs to improve the defense.
Do you have any plan to focus in the next season? I know it is too early, but I don't know if you have any idea about I need some pitchers or offensive players. Also, you're speaking about the young players. I want to know, what do you think about the Javier Sanoja development this season?
Yeah, I'll start with Sanoja's development. It was incredible to watch. To see him at his young age, with his relative inexperience as a professional player, to be just a jack of all trades, to fill in at every position, to play above average defense at every position, that's incredibly hard to do. He's not getting consistent reps, right? He's not out there playing a certain position every single day. One day he's at second base, one day he's at third base, one day he's in left field, and that he's so good at each of those positions is a testament to him. That was really fun to see, and it really helps accentuate our roster because it allows him to fill in a lot of different places. For your first question, I think there's a lot of different ways we can improve our club. We're going to look at all of those. I don't think that we have a specific type or a specific way of getting better. We're going to try to get better in every single way that we can.
Peter, with that line with Javier or maybe Agustin, do you envision some of them going to winner goal this year and getting some reps there? And what's your vision in general with players that will be playing the art or whatever?
Yeah, it's really a case-by-case basis. I think there are some guys who benefit more than others on playing with the ball, and obviously some guys that want to do it more than others. I think the most important thing is that guys use the offseason to get better, and that doesn't necessarily mean playing. In fact, oftentimes it might mean training, focusing on rest and recovery. It's a long season. These guys have been playing every single day since the middle of February, many of them even before that. Recovery, resting your body, resting your mind, working on things that allow you to physically be better into next season is really important in the offseason as well.
And on that line, you obviously invested in the weight room, nutritionist, and many other perks for the recovery and the preparation of the field. How would you evaluate those aspects of it?
Yeah, I think it's another area that we've made tremendous progress in, providing these facilities that are top of the line, amenities for the players that encourage them to take care of themselves, take care of their bodies. We have further improvements along the way. There's a lot of investment in those behind the scenes things that, like I said before, we're starting to see them pay off, but the payoff isn't just 1 year. The payoff is really over multiple years where players are constantly given the top of the line care to improve themselves.
We'll do a couple more questions. Steven?
Two quick ones, Peter. For the offseason, I know you want everyone to improve, but who are some of the guys that come to mind that need to have big off seasons coming into next year? And I know that you want to improve every asset, but what comes to mind from this season of like, we got to get better in this area? Big league.
I think we need to get better at our catcher defense. I think that's something that we knew was going to be a challenge for some of our young catchers, right? And especially after we traded away Nick Cortez, we know we're putting a lot on 2 rookie catchers. It is a lot to be a catcher at the big league level, to learn a pitching staff, to learn how to be a catcher, to learn how to be a leader, and to hit. I was really happy with both Liam and Gus and what they showed us this year. I think they still need to improve, but that's really true for everyone. And I know you asked for a couple of specific players, and I don't really feel comfortable answering because I don't think it's just limited to a couple of players. I think our idea is that all of these players can get better. And it doesn't really matter where you are how old you are or where you are in your stage of your career. You can always get better, and we can help you get better. And if we're constantly asking our guys to push themselves to find another gear, we're gonna always be having players get better. And that is the player development at the major league level.
We'll do 2 last ones.
I know, like a postmortem for hockey, they asked if any guys are having surgery, or it's not just with baseball. Obviously, any of the guys that aren't, other than Tinoco, had everyone kind of set for like spring training, whether it's Meyer with his hip, Brax coming back from TJ.
Yeah, with the caveat that there's a long time between now and spring training, our expectation is that all of those players will be healthy and ready to go for spring training.
Last but not least, one to fish on first, Kevin.
Peter, what were your impressions of Joe Mack this season, and do you see him as an option to potentially break camp as one of the catchers on the 2026 opening day roster?
I think Joe Mack is an incredibly impressive prospect. I think doing what he did at age, I think he was 22 all season in AAA. I would guess that's the youngest catcher who was playing full-time in AAA. Above average offensive performer, tremendous defense, excellent leader. He's everything you could ask for in a catcher.